Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another fun-filled week of the Grumpy Vlogger. Yay!
Yay!
We're here. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm tired. I sat up. I was up till 2 o'clock this morning talking to my son in Colorado. We talked for about 4.5 hours last night. We did a video conference, and
Nice.
yeah, and I'm going to be trying out something. God, I got the name of it, and it just went blank. It's Google. It's like the old Google program used to be. It's like StreamYard, but
yeah, like Zoom.
Google Meet, are you talking about?
Google what?
Google Meet, M-A-A-T.
Yeah. That's it. Because we used that last night, and so it's like,
Cool.
it's pretty
I've
slick.
used it on many occasions.
Yeah. That's what he uses for his business. So it's like, okay, so. All right, let's start at the top here, and I'm going to start welcoming everybody. Uncle Bill, it will be here in a minute.
Yep.
Okay. We got Grant, Mr. Stage Jump. We got Captain Joe America. We got Joey, J-Bird. We got RJ's Ariels.
That's Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I almost called him John, but, anyway. So we got Jody, Drone Shots. We got Artco,
Mm-hmm.
the little feller. We got Bryan, Waypoint, New England. Let's see, who else have we got here right now?
Steve
Looks like,
Knowles.
we got Mark White. We got Steve Knowles.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Cool.
So
Mm-hmm.
The gang's all here.
the gang's all here. Yeah.
The gang's all here. I'm enjoying watching the rockets crashing into Tehran. Oh, how about that news reporter? She was live on air when
When it hit the, she jumps up and goes running off, and it hit the broadcast station.
Allah, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
that's a sad thing to say. First of all, it's Tehran, and second, you're happy to see it. That's not right.
if they were our active enemies, I could say, all right, yeah, but she was a civilian. She's a broadcaster.
That's right. I apologize.
I don't give a damn how many of their soldiers
I don't know.
die.
She was saying, "Hug," which means Oklahoma people suck. I know she was saying that.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Oh, did you hear Saudi Arabia is now bombing the Yemenis?
Hey,
Are they?
Really?
let's go.
I didn't hear that.
Yep.
I had not heard that. That's develops, and I just looking at it a little bit ago, and so,
And
nobody wants people to die. We want it over. We want it over. Take the bomb away from them, whatever way you have to.
Right.
Sooner. It's not just as easy. That one's going to take a bunker buster to get to, and there's only one aircraft that can carry a bunker buster.
Yep.
And they don't have them.
Right.
No.
It's not like we're going to give them one.
Right.
B-2.
Right.
So it's going to happen. It's going to have to be us.
It sounds like they're pretty much leaderless now. The Ayatollah's been killed. Much of the
Whoa!
Whoa!
Where the hell did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's news.
I didn't hear that.
I hadn't heard it
They're
either.
intentionally not killing him because they don't want to make a martyr out of him.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe it was
Art just makes just stuff as he goes along.
Yeah.
And
hello, Paco, Apollo's Grace. That's my son. We spent it. Well, I was tired today.
I remember that.
I had to. But yeah.
fever dreams. Yeah, I told us that. No, they the one thing they want is they want that government. I mean, one of the things they want that they're not really talking about, but they are talking about, is they want that government. They want the government out. They want them overturned, and they'd say possibly as much as 80% of the country wants them out too, if not more.
Yeah,
because they've been living like shit for the last 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's putting it mildly. They're living in terror for the last 40 years. You can't protest, you can't live free.
Right.
And it's not like a country of radicals.
Yeah, they're a theocracy, and they're the people themselves are the ones who are. Did you find it, Art?
Yes, it turns out it was a Republican Guard. I was just
The leader of the Republican Guard.
Close enough.
Yeah,
we knew that. Yeah.
that we knew.
Yeah.
Got to get,
He's not just the leader of the country; he's the leader of their religion. So you gotta you gotta be careful there. So
and he's on. I looked at it, and I was looking at it about him, and he's only the second Ayatollah. There's Ayatollah Khomeini, which was the one we dealt with.
Yeah.
Right.
And this one is Khomeini or Khomeini or Hominy or something like that.
I think it's pronounced. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's only the second one, so I thought there'd been one in between them, so because the original Ayatollah, and that's the problem.
They're
still 10,000.
What's the difference? They're interchangeable. They're both the same.
Yeah.
When he's gone, there'll be another radical in there.
Right.
Well, yeah, because they've got 10,000 radical mullahs that are just waiting for the chance to take over,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're concerned about, it turning into a bigger civil war and really getting out of hand by but if they can get the people to remove the
mullahs,
the mullahs and the ayatollahs, well, then they stand a better chance of having a democracy.
Well, that's why they're killing all those leaders, because they're hoping that they'll just skedaddle. They'll just go to countries unknown and just get the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And you cut off the head, another head replaces. Okay, go after them. Eventually, they're like, "Well, this is not good, not a good job future for me here."
Yeah, it's like, no, thanks for the promotion, but no thanks. I think I'll turn that one down. I'm not wanting to be the Ayatollah this week. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're doing a real nice number on Hezbollah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think it was both Lebanon and Syria said they would not get involved with it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, Lebanon is actually been shooting down drones. Actually,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is they were shooting down.
Lebanon's not jiggy with any of this. They're. I mean, I don't want to call them friends, but they're not enemies.
No.
They're kind of in between. Same thing with
friends.
all our friends over there.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the groundwork for this, as far as these other countries not getting involved, was actually sort of laid down when Trump went over there to the Middle East and really, pushed the agenda, at least peace and peace in the Middle East. And
what do you call it? The come on, Charles, Abraham Accords.
Yeah,
the Abraham Accords. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, what do you think? I mean, sad to say, as wonderful as that was, what do you think caused all this? I mean, that forced Iran's hand. They couldn't have. They want to expand their form of religion on the entire region. They want to expand. That's why there was an interview with the Crown Prince in Saudi all the way back in like 2017, 2018, that they were tired of Iran then. And he was calling him Hitler, and not because he's trying to exterminate the Jews, because like Hitler, he wants to expand. Like and they're not having it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, and you got the Emirates and all of those. They don't want to be replaced. They don't want to. They don't want to end up like what's his name did with Egypt when he got overthrown, and then it turns out that the people, the Islamic Brotherhood got in, and the military ended up stepping in and saying, nope, they're out. We're going to take over until we can get somebody. And so Egypt is, they've got rid of those. They're getting rid of or gotten rid of a good portion of those fundamentalists. They're not active in their government now, anyways.
Mr. Kitty, hello, Michael.
The cycle. Hey, cool cat.
Yeah, but Egypt and Syria and was it Lebanon? No, what was the third? What was the third country? No, is that Lebanon? when
Yeah.
the 7-day war.
Yeah.
I mean, they discovered
yeah.
it's not a good idea.
They know. Yeah.
They figured that out. It only took a week.
Yeah. The 7-day and the Yom Kippur, and neither one of those was good for them, you know? And, you know, that's where, not Gaza. What's the other
Did
one?
you see the protesting march? The friggin' it was on whose channel is it? He's a Jewish guy, conservative.
Oh, Ben Shapiro.
Was that it? No, David.
Oh, you mean the lawyer?
He showed a video in Egypt.
Which?
No, he showed a video in Egypt where a huge group of funded, woke, whatever, that wanted to support Gaza.
Right.
Went to Egypt and thought that Egypt would just allow them to walk across the Sinai and enter Gaza.
Oh, yeah. You mean
They beat the living crap out of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
they beat the shit out. They learn real quick. You know, it's what did you think the press was lying about the fact that Egypt shut that border down? They're not letting the Palestinians out. They're not letting you go there either.
Right.
Nobody wants them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rabble rousers.
Yeah.
Israel treats them better than anybody else did. That's the sad thing. And they're the ones that are feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
Not Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a
Here we go.
Bunch of nitwits. No, they thought that they could just protest and we love you and we will dive. You know, well, they got the hell beat out of them. We got kicked out. They got their passports confiscated and were kicked out of the country.
It said they got kidnapped. You know,
little censor. Oh no, that's something else. That
was Thunberg. She's the one who's saying she got kidnapped.
Right,
yeah.
But she taped all that shit before they even stopped the boat. That was taped ahead of time because she expected worse than what they got. Right. She's a little shit. You know, they said they made them watch the movies, and what was the source of most of these movies? From the Palestinians. I mean, they were cheering everything they did, you know, and this disgusting display of what they did to men, women, and children.
Yeah,
and turned her head. Must be propaganda, I guess. Even though it was the Palestinians that released it, you know.
Well, it was like when they beheaded that one American back was when Iraq. We start either Afghanistan or Iraq. I can't remember which front we were on at the time, and they kidnapped Grant, who is in. They showed the video. It was brought up on YouTube, and they were showing it. They finally pulled it because it was. I mean, it wasn't like you see in the movies where it was just a thunk and it was over with. No, they had to whack and whack and whack and whack on this guy to get his head to fall off. And it was, you see that one time and you never want to see that again.
Right.
Their ancestors would be ashamed. They used the wrong kind of, you know, there's special weapons made for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like they use like a machete or some shit. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it which one? It's either Lebanon and Syria. One of them shooting down the drones, and the other one actually offered them airspace to they could take off from there to fly over Iran to do their bombing if they needed to.
Nice.
Well, I know Lebanon was shooting the drones down. So is Saudi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all fed up with it. You know, this has been coming to a head, and it just needs to be done. You know, I don't like to see innocent civilians die, but on the other hand, you got to, you know, and take as much as didn't like that gal getting killed, but you know, taking out that's one of the things you got to do is take out their broadcasting so they can't keep broadcasting their bullshit, you know.
Hey, Don.
Donald.
Hello, Don. So,
well, and what Israelis are doing is they're doing, precision surgical strikes to minimize any collateral damage.
Yeah. Well, if you look at where that TV station got hit in Trent, what happened? We lost Bill
His
again.
internet went kapooey.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Froze up. He started.
He'll be back. Yeah, I wondered about that. But if you look at that and you see how it's hit and it explodes, it is just that friggin' building. I mean, it literally is just that square building. That's precision hitting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and part of the thing they're not liking the fact they're trying to get all of the incoming ballistic missiles that they can, but on the other hand, the more these idiots keep firing, the sooner they're going to run out.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. That's
They've
right.
lost air superiority, so they don't have any anti-aircraft defenses now. And I was sitting there, I was thinking, does the Iranian Air Force have anything newer than what they had when I was in? And no, they showed those F-14s. Those are what were bought from the United States back when the Shah was in power.
That's right.
You know, and they haven't been able to get anything newer, you know.
Right. Well, I think China did supply them with some their copies of the MiG.
Of the MiG, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think but they're doing I kind of, you know, for a country that when you go look on the map and see how big Israel is, for no bigger than they are,
That's right, Cool Cat. Only 300.
They lost 300 civilians.
Right. Now, I did see a couple Israeli jets do some precision bombings, and here they are. They're shooting at them, and you can see the chaff coming out, and they're just flying around with, you know, nobody.
Hey, Randy.
They're shooting at them, and they're just flying.
Welcome back.
Tomorrow. Hey, he's back. Welcome back, Bill. Beautiful Bill.
Thanks to T-Mobile.
Yeah, we miss you.
It's gonna keep doing
that.
But
you were sort of hung there like you look like the guy from
oh yeah.
Hi, Randy.
Yeah. Austin Powers, yeah. Yeah, looked like the bad guy in Austin Powers. Yeah.
I thought I'd see how long it would last.
Yeah.
Not long.
Not long.
Well, it's probably back already, but I'm not going to deal with that constant. That's annoying.
It's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And what's funny is that then I'll go in the living room later and I'll watch like Netflix for like 2 hours without a problem. It's weird.
That's
because you're just downloading, no uploading.
Right.
There's still some uploading going on, and
well, yeah.
I had no connection. It had nothing to do with download or upload. It said there was no connection. You know, but the modem shows that I'm connected. So I don't know.
Hey, Dusty, East Coast Thrills, welcome.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna plug directly into the modem from this, so that I can access the stats. You know, and just see how strong what the strength of the signal is. That's why when I actually talk to these people, I mean, they're gonna force me to go through this AI shit manually. Reboot the modem. Okay, yeah, we'll do that for the 35th time. Like we didn't think of that already. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, still not working. Okay, and eventually it gets to the point where they say, okay, we're going to have somebody come out.
Yeah.
So I gotta go through the motions to go through that. So
right.
I don't know. Might have nothing to do with that wire. Might be that amplifier on the pole up there has gone bad. They do go bad.
They do go bad. Yeah.
So.
But, you know, it could be that it rubbed on that branch enough that it may have frayed somewhere inside there that you just can't see it.
You know, it is just coax. It's just shielding and, you know, a single heavy in the middle. But if it's cracked or exposed and getting, I mean, it just could be causing noise. Maybe the shielding's wore up. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when they're done, you'll have the best. If they do it right, you'll have the best internet you ever had because they'll keep messing. I've my experience with these guys because they don't want to drive from place to place to place.
Right.
They'll just make sure you got the best possible, you know, scenario.
That's what they did for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they came out there and replaced the all new line, put in a new heavier type line. Even it's not fiber optic, but it would do 1 gig up and down. And I do 1 gig down and do 360 megs up, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a week later, I got my fiber optic.
You son of a bitch.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, those lines have been out there a long time, so maybe it's time to replace them. Yeah.
Well, and I still keep that internet on. So if I forget sometimes when I'm having problems with this, I can switch over to my other internet and still use it,
Mm-hmm.
The only time I have a problem is if there's no power, and then I can't do anything about that other than use my phone or my tablet. So,
See, I'm so concerned that all my friends out there don't get to see this, that I make sure I have backup internet.
well, I do too. I do too. Yeah.
Because it's for you.
Yeah. He does this out of the kindness of his heart, folks.
That's right.
Make you
He's
pay
that
much
dedicated.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Speaking
Committed.
of Randy Weingarten is out at the DNC.
yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Is this Three Conservative Gimps program? Is that what
I don't know. It seemed to be going that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
we saw that? She was you know what, now that she may as well quit because she was ineffectual since the new administration took she was just noise. It wasn't working. So,
Yeah, it was annoying. So yeah.
Oh, and David Hogg out as vice chair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he quit. He quit here a few days ago or a week ago, didn't he?
that's right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
They
the
can
thing
all
is,
quit. I don't care.
they're out of the DNC. She's still
She's still
head of the teachers
teachers union. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Out of
they're
school.
who wants to be in charge of that shit that's going on right now? I mean, you're going to take responsibility for that. She'll end up coming back when things are straightened out and
Yeah.
settled down, and
Mhm.
or try to come
Yeah.
back.
Right now they don't. They it's another one of those nobody wants the job.
Yeah.
And because yeah.
Well, like being an Iranian general.
Yeah, it is exactly.
Not quite that
Yeah.
bad.
They're not quite that bad, but they're about as popular.
Yeah,
right now.
no rockets coming through your window.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
about that news? Did you know they shot a rocket through Netanyahu's bedroom window?
No, really.
Oh,
No,
wow.
isn't it great how the press never? There was an assassination attempt on him a while ago, and they shot a rocket through the window.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Because they missed. So okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they missed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cheap Chinese crap that they got. Yeah.
And, it's funny how all this screaming and yelling how if Trump takes over, there's going to be anarchy in the streets and this and that. And all they were doing was saying, we're going to commit anarchy in the.
They were just saying we're going to do it, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Civil War, because we're not going to accept the fact that we're in the minority now and we're going to. Oh, God.
Mhm. Let's have a march on the day that we're celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary. Let's do that.
They apparently had one up in Tulsa. I'd seen where it was somebody had put it on Facebook. It was organized and all this, and but because they were having these protests, my grandson who worked up there by where it was at, they sent him home back down here to Muskogee, and they paid him for the whole day. So he got paid the full day and got to take the whole day off because they didn't want any of their employees bothered in the marches. So.
Mhm.
And as far as I can tell, nothing happened about it because it really, here in this is Oklahoma.
Right.
I didn't see anything. My wife did. She on the north end of town, but they were just on the side of the road holding signs.
Yeah.
They didn't hold up traffic. They didn't do anything stupid. They were warned. Don't do it.
Mhm.
I don't mind that. Speak your mind. It's a free country.
Yeah.
Don't impede my progress. Don't cost me money. Don't you know what I mean? Don't endanger people's lives.
Right.
Jackasses.
Yeah. I mean, the violence is unnecessary, but you can march to your heart's content. That's you stand out there on the sidewalk, wave your sign. Back when Black Lives Matter was a big thing, we had some Black Lives Matter protests right down in front of the library downtown, main cross street here, and I was driving past it, and I just waved at them as I went by. They had two police officers there, kind of making sure everything was keeping the peace. They sat in their air conditioned car, and it was like in the middle of summertime at about 98 degrees with about 89% humidity, and there was only like 6 of them out there. 3 of them were man bun wearers, and the other I would say there's more like 8 people, because there was one really large black woman that was sweating her ass off. You could just see it dripping off of her, and I think her husband, because he was a skinny little black guy, and then all the rest of these were a bunch of white liberals, with their man buns and their skinny jeans. Is like, it's like,
Hey,
and I just laughed.
I wear skinny jeans.
Mm-hmm.
All jeans are skinny jeans on me. They just
I was going to say, yeah. But this was like, they were just so typical of what like that idiot, that man bun wearing douchebag that they've been showing around in that protest about talking about work, and it was it's the same kind of people out there. It's like, whatever, they have a man bun. I just can't look them straight in the eye and say, I really respect your point of view.
I don't care about the man bun. It's just a smarmy attitude towards the fact that she has a job. Now he either doesn't work, which I wouldn't doubt.
Actually, I thought the broad next to him was his mother. He was living in her basement,
or he was just kind of comparing the importance of her going to her job and them trying to save the country. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe that's what was going through his mind, but it didn't come across that way. It came across like, I want someone to punch me in the face. That's what it came across.
It was like the the most punchable face of the week. Yeah.
Speaking of punch in the face, did you hear about the Minnesota state senators that was killed?
Yeah, of course we did.
Art. We listened to. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, maybe the chat hasn't.
You make it sound like you're introducing a joke, and you're talking about 2 people being murdered in their doorstep.
Yeah.
That was freaking awful. I mean, and they're trying to. They're saying it was because he was pro-life and they were pro-choice or whatever.
Is that their newest one? I'd heard that he was. Yeah, he was. And she was a former. She was no longer in the Senate. She was, but she had voted with the Republicans. At least that's what I heard. Maybe they just called her former now instead of the late senator. I don't know why.
Former senator. Oh my God, the press sucks so bad.
Yeah, I know, because they called her the former senator.
She was a senator.
Okay. Well, I heard they called her a former senator. I'm going, wait a minute.
Or Congresswoman, I forget. But she was, and it's only state level.
Yeah.
Oh, to state level? Okay. Yeah. It's still, and of course he had, I think the guy, because he had both Democrats and Republicans on his hit list. So they had like 70 different names on that hit list is what I've heard. So,
yeah. What they haven't announced is what his party affiliation was, which tells me he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
They always hold that back. It's amazing.
Yeah. Sunny days in the chat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I at in watching? I don't know.
Okay. Where are you?
You getting high pot? No, I'm not. I don't. My pot's about normal size of everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little high for Art, but everybody else. That's the only pot I know of that's might be high.
I gotta be on a stool to reach it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one in my bathroom is handicap adapted, so you can transfer straight across from a wheelchair. So it is higher. Poor Judy, she's 5'2". She had to have a footstool underneath her feet because otherwise her feet just dangled off. Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that interview with what's his name, the director of the FBI, sitting in that stool, and his feet didn't come anywhere near touching the ground? It looked like Beauchard sitting on that big beach chair in Jensen Beach. He's not a big guy.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Cash Patel.
Yeah, it's almost as strange as that one that President Biden and Joe Biden had with Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter. They look like little toys compared to the Bidens, who are great big. It's so out of proportion.
Oh, I know.
What the hell sort of camera did they use to make that janky picture?
Was it perspective? Because Biden's like 6 even, I think, or 5'11" or something like that.
Yeah, but it made them look like they were little kids, or like they were marrying, like it made them look. I hate to say it, but it made them look like ventriloquist dummies sitting there.
Why do you hate to say that? You love ventriloquist dummies.
Well, that's true. And I got one for Father's Day. I got
do tell us.
My son and daughter-in-law found one at the yard, so I've been looking forever to find just a used one, and it's an old 1968 put out by Juro. It's a Mortimer Sneed.
Mortimer Snerd.
Snerd, yeah, Sneed.
Mortimer Snerd.
No, that's
I think it's Snerd. Part of the time I call it.
What Artie?
That's Sam Sneed.
Oh, that's what it is. So it's Mortimer Snerd. You're right.
Yeah.
I think I am right. Yeah, it is Mortimer Snerd.
Yeah, it's Snerd. Yeah, and but the clothes on it look. I mean, they're in excellent shape. It's got the only thing it doesn't have is his straw hat, and I can actually pick those up used. But I had
a Mortimer Snerd when I was a kid.
Well,
I had a Charlie McCarthy and a Mortimer Snerd.
Yeah,
because I was as weird as you when I was a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, but they got it. She got it for $25. Or Pat did. He said, "Yeah, I saw that and I grabbed it." So, yeah, because used they're still selling for about $40 to $50. They're not
worth more than that. I bet you once upon a time they were worth more.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it depends on whether you got if you got an original box and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's that, and there's the fact is I think there's less call for it as the people that even know who that is are dying. The market,
and that's it. Yeah.
Market's shrinking.
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is because it's one like we all, you got as a kid that had the pull string in the back. Well, the rubber band is obviously rotted out, so it's not snapping back up in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the head off and I'm going to 3D print a control stick on it. I'm going to build a wood burn because it's a soft body, and I'm going to make it so I can control it from the inside. So,
you just got to get your hands in everything.
That's it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I used to think I could do this, talk without moving my lips, but then you get this creepy smile on your face.
Yeah. Well, when I started learning to do that, I said, just let your mouth kind of be slightly open and relaxed. Well, I've got wrinkles and all this stuff. And so I can do this, and you don't really notice it too much.
A little bit.
I haven't practiced for a while.
Don't move your jaw and practice your ends.
Yeah, and I haven't practiced for a while.
Your M's are N's and so on, and F's are S's.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, N, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Very good.
What about
that? Was good. That was good.
I can't even remember him when I'm talking myself. I'm just glad the dummy knows it.
I was just thinking, if I stick my hand right up here into this dummy here. Whoop! That
one right there, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually,
Hello.
Art, if you talk, it'll look like I'm a ventriloquist.
Howdy! How's everybody doing tonight?
And the lollipop girl, lollipop bill.
By the way, it's Eddie Nunez's birthday today.
Happy birthday,
Eddie. Happy birthday, Eddie.
Is he here? No, we're saying it to nobody.
No, he doesn't. Hey, are you kidding? He's got class. He doesn't hang out on my shows.
Oh, he does pop in once in a while.
He has popped in. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And every so often he'll say something to me somewhere, and
Mhm.
actually I think he's in South Florida, right?
You're doing good. You got like 19 in here already.
Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty good tonight. Yeah, 19's a
Yeah.
good night. Yeah,
Mhm.
you know, but I can't complain. I mean, got a uh good bunch of guys that watch, and I don't do this to be famous because I guarantee I'd have probably shot
Well,
myself in the head. If it,
that's a good thing.
yeah, it's really a good thing. Yeah,
Yeah, Artie
I
is
like
though.
it because I'm more infamous than famous. I'd rather
Yeah,
be
I'd
infamous
rather be that.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
being
this a
infamous
lovely?
is fun.
Isn't this a lovely background? See, living in Florida, that's a restaurant.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
go in there and sit in that surroundings, and they've got live entertainment that plays right there. You got
right.
live entertainment outdoors, and the doorway, which is there, goes into the bar, and there's no doors. It's just wide open, and it's actually air conditioned in there. It must cost them a fortune because that thing is
Oh
wide
God,
open.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
But yeah,
Mhm.
just Florida.
It's
Okay,
Florida.
that's it. That's my Florida advertisement right there.
Yeah.
This is in St. Cloud.
I tell you what, I really do like Florida. Not enough to move there because I got too much connection here, but
Oh, your
I
family's.
yeah, my family's here, and yeah, that's what we set up last night talking. My son up in Colorado that I'm going to go spend a week with, and I mean we just talked. He found out things that he didn't even he thought he knew, but he found I didn't know that, and we just carried on for it went on for a good 4 hours. And by the way, Paco, yes, 4.5 hours, something like that. It's 2:00 in the morning when we got off.
Wow.
And
That's when I'm just getting up. Yeah.
yeah, I probably could have texted you and told you to come in. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and but yeah. I was going to
You know what? But all states have positive and negatives, and I like Pennsylvania a lot too, actually.
Mhm.
And I also like New Jersey, believe it or not. It all depends on where you live and how you live.
Yeah.
I where I grew up was a town, Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey,
Right.
next to Hackensack and like that. You could see Washington skyline from Hasbrook Heights because Hasbrook Heights it's like the trailing edge of the Englewood Cliffs when it comes inland. And then below that is the lowland, which is Teterboro Airport and Moonachie. That's the Meadowlands. That's where Giant Stadium is. So we kind of overlooked that, And I liked it there just fine, I mean, because you just adapt. First of all, they had trees. This was a nice town surrounded by a lot of, I mean, maybe pretty much nice towns. All immigrants, by the way. They're all immigrants. That whole area is immigrant, Polish Americans, and Italian Americans, and Irish Americans. The majority of that region. And but I like Pennsylvania too. Pennsylvania. And by the way, New Jersey. I moved to the west part of New Jersey, and you may as well have been in Pennsylvania, or upper New York State. You know what I mean? It was just mountains and creeks and rivers, and we lived in a community built off a lake. That was pretty sharp, and that was New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then Pennsylvania's just got everything but ocean. Lots of lakes, lots of mountains, lots of streams, good fishing.
Yeah, I have an aunt and uncle that lived up there in Pennsylvania for
where in PA?
I feel bad. I don't remember.
Was it? I mean, because there's different. I mean, different parts of PA.
It was sort of in the country area.
Jeez,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It
you got the northeast, like the Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area, and like that, and Bloomsbury.
Yeah, I know they were where they
west of New York, but then
it was close to being able to see like Washington D.C. or that area is not that far from.
Yeah, that's a very expensive area, actually.
Probably where they lived then. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. You're talking about south of Philadelphia. So that's that region down there. Well, there's good and there's bad down there. But the Chesters, Westchester, there's the main line down there, one of the most expensive places to live, believe it or not.
Right.
But yeah, that's down there.
Well, he'd worked for he's learned telecommunications when he was yes, I said Washington.
I know that's that.
Well, I mean,
anyway.
you still wouldn't be that close to Washington. I mean, you could, you got the Delmarva Peninsula between you and there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Delaware,
Well, wherever they were at,
Maryland, Virginia.
yeah. Because they took Mom and they got pictures of it over the skyline overlooking everything. I don't know. It's been, God, I haven't seen them probably in 35 years. They're gone now, I'm sure. Because
Northwestern part of the state's beautiful, Du Bois and like that. You're pretty high elevation there. You know, you got the Great Lakes, got Erie.
Right.
And now that it's not an oil slick. You know, I mean, it's great. It's a nice state. I like, you know, I was there 27 years. I guess I liked it. I mean, go ahead.
He worked for AT&T, or we worked for. They used to. It wasn't. Actually, no. He did work for Bell. Come to think of it.
Bell.
Yeah,
26 years actually.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm more Floridian than New Yorker. By the way, I just paid attention. I've been down here since December 06. How long is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this December will be 19. 19 years. Yeah, I grew up in Jersey, but first of all, I lived in New York first until I was like 3.5, and we were in the Bronx and then Washington Heights. Right around school age, we moved to Lodi, New Jersey, 1 year before school age. Then the next year, I went to kindergarten in Hasbrook Heights. So I was there maybe 15 years because I moved away and went to Pennsylvania. So I passed that a while ago. You know, Pennsylvania's second now. So I mean, technically, I guess I'm Pennsylvanian if you really want to think about it. It's not where I'm from, but that's my longest experience.
Yeah,
I think if I live long enough, Florida will make it.
Well, I've been in Oklahoma 43 years now, 44 years. Come to think of it, yeah.
You're an Okie.
I've lived here longer than anywhere else.
Yeah.
I moved from Arizona to here, and but I'd gone from Colorado down to Arizona when I was in the service, and I was out there about 7 years, and 6 or 7 years, something like that.
I lived in Colorado 55 years.
Oh, Brenda and Lake Pilot, welcome.
Yep.
Randy, I love the Poconos. Yeah, I lived, you know, the North Scranton, Wilkes-Barre is right there. In fact, I lived in Dunmore, which is with my wife, my present wife, before I moved away, and that's a suburb of Scranton. And right there, you just jump on 81 to 84. Anyway. And in fact, I sold lumber all through the Poconos. I was a part of the building up of that area, actually.
You know, maybe it was Scranton that they lived at. Now that I think about it, I don't know anything about that part of the country, but
that's northeastern.
That sounds familiar. Yeah,
Scranton. Gotta say it right. Scranton,
Mm-hmm.
Wilkes-Barre, most corrupt friggin'. It used to be anyway. I think it's coming around. You know, Joe Biden used to brag about being from there. That is politically like one of the most corrupt. I went for a job in corrections. I left my other job because I met my wife. I didn't want to drive down to Philadelphia. I was happy for a change, and I got a job in the Northeast. Well, eventually that didn't, you know, where I was, instead of driving all the way down to Philly, which was a mistake. I should have kept that job. Pension would be great by now. But anyway, long story short, I was looking for corrections in county level in Lackawanna County, which is Scranton. And the guy there, he's like, I said, okay, I got to fill out this information. He goes, let me ask you a question. So you registered Republican or Democrat? Guy asked me this across the counter, right in the government building. And I said, I'm registered Republican. He said, don't even bother. He actually said that to me. You know, I mean, that's how bad it really was there.
Yeah. Hey, Tin Toes, how you doing, Tom?
Yeah,
and that's nothing. I mean, you heard about those judges that got caught.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they privatized some of the jails,
right?
And they were getting kickbacks for sending. They send first-time offender guy would get caught with a little bag of weed in a joint, and they'd send him up for 5 fucking years.
Right?
It was really bad, and because the bigger the sentence, the more money they got,
and the more kickbacks they got too. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep.
So corrupt. And everybody knew it. And they all know it, and they keep reelecting them anyway. Unbelievable.
We had that for a while down here. Yeah, we had our own little gang of mobsters, you know. Hillbilly mobsters, I guess you'd call them.
Poconos is.
But most of them are died out now, or they're too old to give a shit, you know.
Poconos, like, and whenever people from North Jersey and New York went on vacation, where'd you go? Poconos. I mean, it was that was the place to go. And you know, it's 2 hours away, if that. And well, no, it's 2 hours away to Stroudsburg, you know, which looks like the Poconos. You know, that's a really nice. I got married in that area to Joy. Little church, oldest church in Pennsylvania. It was like built in the early 1700s. Little white church. So I mean, little thing. You know what I mean? It was kind of a, I don't know. So that's something to remember. Huh?
How little?
Oh, I'd say your size. You know,
okay,
right about there.
That's pretty little.
But, yeah, but there's a lot of quaint stuff like that in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? It's an old, you know, I just liked it.
I got a lot of kinfolk up there I've never met. All Mendenhalls. There's a big Mendenhall Inn up there. So
Art, Lloyd, what we'll do is I'll make a plan and I'll go visit. We'll go see some friends and I'll see my son who still lives there, and we'll just get together. You can see your family, see my family.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. There we go. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, my son's the only one that's there. All the rest of the family is still in New Jersey and New York.
She grew up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
We got parallels here, and she lives in Florida now.
And she lives in Florida now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't grow up there though.
Yeah.
If I had to say where I grew up, it obviously would be New Jersey. You know, even though New York came first, but I was just a toddler, and a little post toddler, but that was about it.
Post toddler. Ooh.
Well, it was like 3.5 or so. 4.
We moved to Denver when I was 7 months old. We came from a little town out in the middle of nowhere called Hagerman, New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
It was a railroad town, and my dad was on the railroad, and he got bumped, and he got bumped off the railroad, so we moved up to Colorado, and
you should have bought a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, I chose New Mexico. I kind of liked it. I liked Albuquerque. That looked
It's nice.
Yeah. That's a little
it's cool.
I mean, up there, that's about all there is. So you just desert. Woo, Albuquerque. Desert.
Yeah.
Well, Farmington's pretty nice, but that's like really close to Colorado.
Yeah, it's right down there by Four Corners. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. That's
there's big Jehovah's Witness towns in southern New Mexico. You know how I know this? My second wife's brother's wife and him became Jehovah's Witnesses and actually sold their property. Where I lived in Pennsylvania with the second one, we had an acre cut out of the in-laws' farm.
Right.
And then there was them to our left, and then to our right was my sister-in-law who had her acre, my brother-in-law who had his acre, and then across the street and a little that way was my other sister-in-law who was married to a guy who bought like 60 acres on that side. You know what I mean? So it was like our town. You know what I mean? It was just us.
Yeah.
Right there. He left to go live in a town that was, I guess, all Jehovah's. And apparently there's like thousands of them. It's basically a Jehovah town. I don't know. I'd have to look at if I was interested enough, I'd do some research and figure out what that was. Yeah, but they left. So a lot of Jehovah's.
Each other's door.
I'd imagine so. You know, borrow a cup of sugar.
I can realize what you just said. I'm going,
hey, wake up! It's time to go to church. You know, I'd say they probably do. Yeah.
Do you believe in Jesus? Well, let me talk about Jesus.
Yes, and shut the door. Yes, I do. Thanks for asking. Shut the door.
Yeah.
Now, hey, you know what? People get mad at them. You know, in their heart, whether you believe in their religion or not, they truly believe that they're saving. They're not being holier than thou. They think they're trying to save you. Yeah. So you can't get mad at them for that. You know what I mean? They smile. They're polite. They dress nice. They're not insulting at all. I mean, you could just, I'm a born again Christian. I'll tell them, you know, which I am technically. And and I believe in the gospel, and God bless you for what you're doing, and I appreciate everything you're doing, and you guys, good luck in what you do. And I shut the door, because there's probably parts of that religion I would probably be totally against, but I don't know enough about it because I don't care to tell you the truth.
Right. Yeah,
it's a recent addition to Christianity.
To
me, that tells me there was money involved for somebody somewhere, power for somebody somewhere.
They don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah, I know that was, and that's the thing. We all lived together, so every holiday was great because you could walk, and the tables were full, and we were all there every holiday, and we each had a holiday. You know what I mean? Like I think Christmas we did at Fred's. He had the biggest house, he had the farm and all that, and we'd have Christmas there, and it was real Christmassy the way they did it too. It was an old farmhouse. It was like I think 300 years, 200 and something, almost 300 years old. If you went in the basement, the floorboards, the floor beams were rough hewn, and this wasn't something from a designer. I mean, these are original, rough hewn trees, basically, and just cool, But anyway, we would do Christmas there. We would do, what did we have? Thanksgiving. No, Easter. We did Easter. I think my sister-in-law did Thanksgiving. We shared the holidays, and it was sad to see them go. I liked Jim. He's a good guy. I don't think that marriage worked out, actually, to tell you the truth. I don't want to get into the details, but it was pretty, wasn't attractive what happened. Something to do with the third party who actually was kind of higher up in the church making time. Like typical. You could guess it. You know what I mean? Typical is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was down at. It was right after James had to quit work before he had his surgery, and so I rode down with him one day, and he had to go take care of some paperwork. So I got bored sitting in his office. So I went outside to smoke a cigarette and do all that, and there's these two guys. There's the typical two guys, white shirt and black tie, come walking through, and they said something to me, and I didn't understand. What'd you say? He says, finally they said, were you in the service? Yeah. I said, well, thank you for your service. I said, thank you. He says, do you care if he says, we don't have time right now, but do you have time if we get together later and we can talk about the word of Jesus? And I looked at him, I said, I have probably forgot more about Jesus than you guys will ever know. So you guys go on and have a good day, and we'll call it even.
What's funny about saying stuff like that? And I love that you said that, is that when you say to somebody, I've forgotten more about it than you'll ever know, how do you know you forgot?
That is true. Yeah.
You might have, I could say that about a lot of things, and I probably never knew shit about it because that's
true.
I have forgotten more about rocket telemetry than you'll ever know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. But and they said, "Oh well, thank you for your service." I said, "Okay, you have a good day." And it's like I think they were Mormons, because I think it's the Mormons where
just be polite, because they're not there to assault you or insult you.
No,
people take it that way, that they're looking down on you, and they're not even a little.
No, and I was very nice to him, but I just told him, I said, I don't think it's necessary. I said I've been around. I said I've been around a hell of a lot longer than you, so I probably have forgot more than you currently know anyway. So I said, but you have a nice day, and thank you for the.
It's part of their teaching that this is what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
And it's rationalized by the fact that, yes, you're doing it to expand the church, but you're expanding the church for the same reason. You're trying to save people's souls.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's pretty serious stuff when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
Or, Lloyd, what you could do is say, sure, come on in, help me hide the body. Help me wrap it up in
That probably wouldn't have gone over so well if I'd have taken them into the police chief's office and said, "Help me hide the body." That might have, that.
Now,
with the
how we can get rid of them real quick, Lloyd. You just open the door in your underwear. That's it. It's not going to let the conversation's going to end pretty quick.
They quit coming around.
Scratch your nuts while you're talking to them.
They quit coming around my house. They put, and one of them told me one time, because they said they came up to the door and I said, "Oh, we're sorry, sir. We're supposed to go to the house next door." I said, "Why aren't you supposed to go to my house?" I said, "Your house has got a mark. We don't want to talk with you because
you eat children."
yeah, well, because they were. I got hold of it. There was a couple of them. I ended up talking to them for quite a while, and they were almost thinking about leaving the church. So they decided to just let's just not talk with this guy.
You anarchist.
I know.
There you go.
It was probably just this guy's an old hardhead and nothing we say.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Don't waste your breath. He's going to hell.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah.
Well, I just give him. I start asking. Well, do you read it in Greek, in the original Greek?
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I'm the guy that said, "Get off my lawn." That's definitely me.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, Randy said he's talking about when I was talking about I don't care what the religion. It's Christ. It's about saving souls. It's about loving everybody. And if you get mad at that, you're just mad at yourself. Seriously. Why get who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, what were you doing that was so important? You just couldn't say hi to someone who probably lives somewhere in your neighborhood. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
But boy, I'm so chilled. Oh, you know what? I ate a gummy.
Yeah.
Not a real gummy, the fake one.
Paco, pay attention. See how he is when he eats those gummies. We had a long talk about that last night.
Yeah, these are the legal ones that have the Delta 9 in them or something. Or
right. Yeah,
it doesn't really mess you up. It just you feel
mellow out.
Mellow it up, relaxes you.
No.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, I'm that stoned, Artie. Thank you.
Yeah, we covered probably. I don't know. We covered all sorts of stuff from marijuana and back in my younger days. It's he's almost 50 now, so I could start telling him shit. Hey, Philip, welcome. Welcome to
something to be said about the properties of these things that actually help when you have pain. When you have eye problems, I mean, there's true medicinal.
I could have used something like that last night. I was pressure, damn bad. Yeah,
blood pressure, being boring, all that stuff. Yeah. No, blood pressure. I mean, there's reasons. There's reasons to help you sleep at night.
Yeah,
increase your appetite.
What really bothers me about it all?
That's what I need. Increase my appetite.
Yeah, right. But what really bothers me about it all is, they've pushed this legalization and it's everywhere now, and that's fine. But I'm so disappointed in the outcome because I figured once everybody started getting stoned, they'd mellow out. But hell, they're meaner now than they were before it was legal.
Yeah,
I think it's the idea that you've got to kind of chill out when you're smoking pot illegally, but now that it's legal, you can be the asshole that you were before you started toking.
I don't know. They were probably bigger assholes before they got high.
It could be. Yeah.
You got to talk relative. Yeah. It's annoying here because you get a card. I could get a card. I have back problems. I have documented back problems. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's all you need. Boop, you get a card. And but I don't have it. Because I worry about my right to carry it because that's even though it's through the state, it's still federal. There's a gray area there, and it's just not worth it. I could sip on a whiskey. Yeah. The only thing is, to be honest, in a lot of ways, weed is a better high than alcohol is.
Yeah,
it just It doesn't intoxicate you nearly as much. It doesn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. You've seen people who aren't used to getting high get high, and and they are incapacitated. But I'm talking about a regular user of either product. You can still drink too much booze and do something stupid, and not to mention you feel like crap the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Mark actually put up there, it's getting that time. It's the top of the hour here. I can't believe it's been an hour already.
Yeah.
And
that's because I wouldn't stop talking. It's my fault. Sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's not yours. No, it was a good show. We were having some good conversations, and
I think so. I don't think it should end.
So. But if you guys want to hear something about drones, go listen to Drone Nation. They're starting up probably right now. So.
But we don't have.
You'll
We
learn
don't
all
have,
of your drone news there.
We don't have to end, do we?
No.
Get them watch
No,
hours.
I'm gonna keep rolling for a little while. So
We'll make you famous.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what we want.
I had to go to the bank today because I got hit by for another $500.
For what? For what?
Well, they actually made a payment on an account that I have for $500, and what they do is what we figured out they made a payment, they changed the email address and the passwords and all of that, and then they're buying gift cards with it.
So you've been robbed $500. You're saying they. I thought you were talking about some financial institution you're dealing with.
No.
You're still being hacked.
I'm still being hacked. So I put some more restrictions on my account today, and they've turned it over to their fraud department, and tomorrow I get my money back in the bank account, which is good because
I showed up on a dark web, and I went with Discover has a program that's $5 a month cheaper than LifeLock. So I took theirs.
I signed up for LifeLock Friday night what happened was I got a notice on my phone that they'd paid, and I looked at that and I said, oh, that can't be right. And I looked at it again, and it's like, oh crap. And I think I found another one. It's one that I normally pay $12 a month, and somebody paid $120 a month for it. So I've got to go through and get that one straightened out. So
mine happened during COVID, and I think it was a T-Mobile breach. Or was it the year I was on AT&T? I know AT&T had a breach, and I had them for 1 year, and that's the year that they got. I bet you it's where they got my information from. Mm-hmm. But somebody actually during COVID tried to get funds from the government as a small business.
Right.
They said apparently I'm a lawyer from Texas, and they flagged it. It didn't go through. God bless. The government actually did their job. They flagged it and contacted me.
Oh.
And or did I contact them? One of the two, I forget. But I did speak to someone there, and they said, "No, yes, we definitely flagged it. It didn't see it. There's been a lot of this going on, and so that was cool." So since then, I've been on. If anybody tries to run my credit report on me, they have to contact me first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
to
answer this question here, what is the most mentioned body part in a stoner circle?
Bone.
Ear.
Bone.
No, the ear. Ear.
Oh.
Ear. Yeah, my son told us that was him that posted that. And I forgot all about it. Thanks for reminding me too. I was going to use that tonight. And yeah, what he couldn't believe. He says, "Dad, you actually do that so well." Because we were talking about, I was telling him a couple of stories, and like, yeah, here, okay, this good shit, man. Says, "You do that a little too well, Dad." And I said, I don't know, but yeah. I was telling him a story about the first time I tried it and I never inhaled. Yeah, we were having a party out in the desert, and it was a kegger, and I hung around the cowboys. Well, we had the hippies and the cowboys. Well, the cowboys drank, the hippies got stoned, and we were all standing around late at night, and I was pretty well shit-faced and standing around a campfire, and somebody started passing the joint around, and the roach clip, started passing around, got around to me, and I
made believe.
No, I actually put it in. I just put it in my mouth and just like this, and I handed it to him, and the guy grabs it from me, and he goes, "Holy shit!" He says, "Why the hell is the feather on my roach clip wet?" Mm-hmm. I was so drunk I didn't know what I couldn't see in the dark, and it's like I stuck.
So you inhaled the feather?
I inhaled the feather. Yeah.
I don't like that weed. It tickles my throat. That weed gives me a tickle in my throat, man.
Tickle my.
Yeah, it's like, why the hell is this thing so wet? Yeah, that was my first time of trying it, and so obviously I wasn't successful at it, and so I
There
did
was
try it a couple more times, just to.
when I was in fifth grade or sixth grade, there was a kid that used to stand waiting for the bus, and he'd be smoking a joint. And this is this is like a middle class tree lined town with no crime,
Right.
literally seriously to speak of. I don't remember it as growing up anyway. And he'd be standing smoking, and he would try to give it to me, and every time I was like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. 12 years old. So anyway, but I carried a wallet. Nah, fucked up. So I know why, because I had to buy lunch. It was different. It was a smaller school. So anyway, I put it in my wallet. And so one day on the way to school, I got all brave and I smoked this little thingy. So I still remember the first time I tried to get high. I don't even think I got anything off of it. It was crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, Randy, what happened with me is our healthcare provider got hit with a giant ransomware, and all of our files got dumped. So, but yeah, there's but and that's why I was talking to the gal today, and I said, how many times a week do you go through this? She goes, you should be asking how many times a day do I have to do this?
Oh.
So I mean, it's, she says she does at least 4 or 5 of these a day, dealing with, having to file the complaint and get it turned in, and the reason why, and then I'll get my money back, of course, tomorrow. But it's like, I thought I was going to have to really fight, but I've already contacted the company, and they said, so they're looking at it from their end, and but I've still got to go through and change a bunch of stuff. But and I changed. That's the thing. I changed it, but I don't know. So I've changed where I use a different mail client, and.
Randy made an interesting comment. We're ignoring the chat, by the way. You got to stop doing it. He said, you just need $90 to get a card here. That's all you need. LOL. But same here, Unc. I gave up my medical marijuana card from my concealed carry card. So it's a thing then, or you just did that. You did that as a precaution. Because when you get your CC, they do a pretty thorough background on you. That's what takes so long.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, is it definitely a thing there? Are you sure that you wouldn't be able to get the CC if you had the MM? Because,
in Oklahoma, you can't. And I know down in New Mexico, you can't either. My niece.
Well, people say that, but from what I understand, legally, it's a gray area, because it's a state issue versus federal issue. Yeah. But, I mean, that's why I don't do it, because I don't know if it's going to happen. But you guys are saying for sure. And okay.
Yeah. Well, because when they do your background check, like when you buy a gun or when you buy they always do a federal background check. So
and you can't use a gun if you're addicted to drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't have a gun.
I actually saw a guy, when I bought, I can't remember which gun it was, probably my first 9mm. I went in there, and you have to fill out all that paperwork, and and I said, I looked at some of the, are you currently wanted on a
you're not wanted.
Yeah, on a warrant for whatever, or have you been convicted of this?
Have you ever been? They actually ask you that.
Yeah.
In the last 3 years, or is it the last 3 years or something, or the last 6 years? I don't think it's ever.
No, because
10 years.
If you've been convicted of a felony, you can't get a hunting license, and you can't carry a gun.
All right. Some of the questions are based on a time period, like have you ever smoked marijuana or whatever? You know what I mean? There was a couple of questions, and it was based on the last 10 years or 3 years.
Right. Yeah, there are some of those, but what I thought was ironic was, I said, how many people actually answer yes to these? She says, we have at least, one a week. Somebody comes in, they said, yes, sorry, you can't have a gun. It's like, oh my God, and, but I actually watched the guy come in, and he was actually a EMT, but there was something a little wrong with what he was, what he was trying to apply for it, and he answered wrong on the question, and they said, you're going to have to wait. It's a 10-day wait period for you. So they were going to have to do.
There's a wait there. I had to wait for it to be printed and sent to me. It took a while. Actually, I paid extra, so it didn't take as long.
Right. Yeah.
But they're not going to. If somebody says yes, the point of that is save the state money, because you're not going to bother sending their. You're not going to bother doing a background check. And that person who's probably thinking between a rock and a hard place. If I say no, and they find that I did, then that's even worse somehow.
Well, I asked him when
it is worse actually, because you're lying on a federal.
Federal form, yeah. When I was going for my my concealed carry, when I had to go through the class, well, they had talked about some people, they forget that they did something back when they were in their 20s, and it was like ended up being a minor felony charge, but it's still, and they forgot about it. And I said, so I went up and told them afterwards. I said, well, I got arrested back in 1979, I think, and
it's not going to be on the record. There's no way they're going to.
And he says, what did they do? I said, I paid a court fine. They said, of $75. They said, oh, that's probably a misdemeanor anyways. I said, yeah, just drunk and disorderly. Don't worry about it, And it's like, so, okay, I don't want to, but here, what we do is we go down to the sheriff. They do your fingerprints, your mug shot, and then they send it off to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, which then runs it through the federal. And now my son has connections to all that. Their system just got tied into all of that. So I could probably go to him and have him run a background check on me, see if I'm still viable. Yeah.
When I was 18, a bunch of us went to New Jersey. We were in Pennsylvania going to college. It was 21 in Pennsylvania. It was 18 in New Jersey. I might have been 19. I don't know, 18 or 19. Anyway, we decided to go on a road trip to our friend's place. He lived in Egg Harbor, New Jersey, which is a pretty nice area, by the way, in southeast New Jersey. And just rip it up, have a good time, right? So we met up with him and his friend who was a local. And there was like 6 of us, or 7, I don't know, 5 of us. I don't know, it was a bunch of us,
Yeah.
It was unfortunately the night we went, there was this snowstorm. It was just snowing like you barely see. And we're like, for some reason we decided, all right, we should combine cars, because there was 3 cars and like 6 or 7 people. And one of us had a station wagon, which we could all fit in. It's like, let's do that, man. Okay. So we pull into this parking lot, and this is nighttime. It's dark, but the snow's coming down hard. And we've been drinking all night. The cars are full of empty beer cans. Like we opened we decided to take a piss first of all, right there in the parking lot. There was no traffic. Nobody was driving. Nobody was stupid enough to be on the roads really at the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
This wasn't the country, by the way. This town we were in. You know what I mean? It was a small town, but it was a town. And so we get out, we're pissing, and this one guy, his friend, he's fucking around like he's gonna pee on me, and he starts chasing me with his dick out, trying to piss on me. Right?
Oh my God!
We're doing this, and I'm running away from him around the car. This is the stupidity that's going on right in front of 2 police officers.
Oh my God!
Sitting in their cruisers in the same parking lot. Just sitting there, just watching this whole thing, and. Yeah. So the lights come on, boom. And we're like, this is me. I'm an idiot. Everybody get in. Make believe you don't see them. All right, wise ass. Okay, everybody get out of the car. They took it easy on us. They gave us possessing an open alcoholic beverage in public.
Yeah.
Drunk and disorderly and public intoxication.
Oh, yeah, they could have thrown the book at you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But they didn't. That's what they gave us. But the one guy, they gave him two hits, which was bad because that was the friend that was from there, and he already had a bit of a record. Nothing serious, but
right, just enough to he was.
So we went to court for that, and the arresting officer two officers, right? One of them, I think he was training. So this is a good new cop. This is what he gets to see. Look at these morons. So anyway, he was there, but his name's not on the arrest thing. So this guy that had a background, and he was a nice guy. He was funny as hell. Tall, skinny black guy. Funny as shit. Until he tried to pee on me, then it was a little less funny. But anyway, he got a lawyer, and the lawyer's telling us the best thing you should do because they got you and they really took it easy on you. Just plead guilty. You're not going to get any jail time. Da da da. I said, okay, that's what they said. Oh, I didn't do it. We went in there. I said not guilty, and this guy said not guilty because his lawyer told him to. And one of the guys with us, who, by the way, became the senior class president in college where I was at later on, he said guilty, dumb, because the rest of us got off because the arresting officer wasn't there in the courtroom. I said, you're all lucky because, this could have been so much worse and dismissed. But that's still on your record. I was still arrested.
Yeah.
That was 1979.
It's
not there. It's not there. I've had thorough background checks. It's not there. Things like that.
Yeah.
It took forever to transcribe paper arrest records to digital.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff that happened back then, especially stupid shit like that, it doesn't make it. You know what I mean? It just
that was me too. They
especially since they dismissed the charges. But that should still be there, and that's not what they ask you. They don't say, have you ever been convicted of a felony or a crime? Have you ever been arrested for a crime?
Yeah, and that's why I told them. And the thing that they got me on was actually brandishing a weapon. Now, then they on the bottom they put what the weapon was. It was a pellet pistol. I was drunk. I was out there waving a pellet pistol. And the thing was, both these guys knew me. They knew who I was. And all right. Of course, you're short for Minnie. They all call me Mindy. Mindy, get in the back of the vehicle. Just get in the back. We're going to take you down. So I had to show up, and I spent the whole friggin' weekend in the damn drunk tank and met some interesting people there.
Oh,
but the funny thing is the county jail was outside of the city limits. It was out in the desert a little bit. Well, they gave me transportation there, but they sure as hell did not give me transportation back to where they picked me up at. So I had to walk I was in cowboy boots, and I had to walk 10 miles. And oh my God, that was worse than anything else that happened. But yeah, I met some. One of the news reporters was. I know it's time. You going?
Yeah, I gotta get going. Thanks.
All right, buddy.
A lot of fun. Take care, everybody.
Yep.
See ya Thursday.
Good night, Art.
And you on Thursday, and you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday. Yeah, we'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see.
See you on Friday.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a good
Later,
evening.
Art. All right, you take care.
All right. Love you, Art.
Good night,
Get out.
Steve.
Jesus, Mary, Joseph. How
Yeah,
long is that?
yeah.
Gone? Hey guys,
Yeah,
I'm going. Bye. Take it easy. Gone. What was that? I hope he's watching. Yeah. Stupid shit.
Yeah, we do stupid stuff.
By the way, we didn't go home after that. I mean, they processed us, and then we went back to our cars and we went out. No, they actually fingerprinted me and everything. It's like, oh shit. We went out and went to we weren't just drinking. There was places down there on that highway that had boots. Like you'd go in and there'd be like a sex shop up front, but then there was boots, and you put quarters in the slot and the door would come up. And that's it. So we all went and fell in love. That's what that is. Yeah. I didn't yank. I didn't realize I was supposed to yank it when I was in there. I just watched. So
yeah.
That's the only time, one and only time I ever did something like that. Now you know what? Memory's getting foggy. Did I do that before we got stopped or after?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing was stopping us though. I don't think we took any of it very particularly seriously.
Yeah, we
we're a bunch of college kids. We weren't thugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's why
that's
why the cop put the very minimal thing he could put on there.
Yeah.
Just standing there peeing in public.
Yeah.
Just that alone, that'd be great on your record.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
night, Mike. Cool cat's leaving.
All right. Good night, Mike.
Good night, Mike.
Yeah. We get down to about 10. I'll probably shut it down. We're down to 12 right now. So
That's awesome. You're competing with the big boys. I mean, right now they're on.
yeah, they're on. Yeah, I know. We're cutting into their time, but
You've had
Yeah.
20 minutes
Yeah.
ago.
We're not cutting it.
yeah, they've been on.
They're not
Yeah,
cutting
20
it.
minutes ago.
This is not the same show as theirs. Same stream as theirs. We'll talk about drones maybe,
Sometime. Yeah. Yeah.
but that's all they talk about.
Right. And they give you, if you want to get the news and what's good and what's bad about drones,
I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying it's two different
No.
things.
it's two different things. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the main reasons I stuck with the grumpy vlogger, because I can get by with just, hey, I'm a vlogger. I'm not a drone guy. I'm part of the drone community,
Right.
but
We have drones.
but
We
I'm
like
not-
them.
yeah, I like them. I have drones, but I like RC cars. I like,
I like
I'm-
flying. Toys.
Yeah,
Old man toys.
That's it right there.
What if
Yeah.
we had a channel that had the
Uncle Bill's Toys would be a great
Toy.
name for you, Bill. Yeah.
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 That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
It's not just drones. It's all the things that make you happy.
That's it. And I
Not
like
all
I'm
of
into 3D printing, and I
Not
love
all.
my 3D printing.
Not all of them. There's some things that make you happy. They kick you off of YouTube for.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So not everything, but yeah, you got the 3D printing. You're mastering that.
Yeah.
Doing a wonderful job with that. Some pretty impressive stuff. What
Well,
other?
it's like I just last week, I still haven't brought it in the house. I got a new scroll saw so I can start working on my pipe that I'm going to make, or actually pipes. I'm making two of them. So, but yeah, I've got all sorts of hobbies.
Are you getting a big scroll saw or some smaller one to work with smaller pieces?
It's a 16-inch, standard scroll saw.
Yeah, I'd like to have. I don't have room in my garage. It's just so much stuff in there. I'd like to have.
I didn't have room for it either. I had to go buy another table to set it on, and I got the table and got it set up. And I'm going to have to go get it and bring it in and set it up. Otherwise, I'm going to be using the table to pile a bunch of shit on it. And then when I bring it in, like, well, what the hell? Where'd my table go?
Yeah,
so,
I don't even have room for another table. You saw my garage. There isn't room for a table.
Yeah.
My wife. Well, first of all, the Harley takes up a bunch of room. But aside from that, my wife gave me the one corner, the one side, the one corner like that.
Right. Yeah.
Those shells and all Pack Rat City.
Yeah.
I really start like diminishing that or knocking that down. There's stuff in there, computer parts and cables and CDs.
Oh,
from
from
like 20 years ago.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I got to go turn my 3D printer and the AMS unit on it and go back through and completely hook all of the plugs, unplug them and hook them all back in, because I keep getting an error. It's like I printed a couple different things. They're off of a photo, and Maker World has an AI simulator, and it's of Judy, but she's just got a tight-lipped smile. Well, the one I like the best is where she's smiling with her mouth open. But unfortunately, about when it got up to this point right here,
Right.
it lost connection to the AMS, and the only way to fix that is to shut it off and start it back up. But then it's like it skips one complete line. It just puts the infill, but it doesn't finish the outside of it, just the infill, and then it starts all over. But
Skips a course, goes to the next course.
Yeah. Something else I saw today, guys are doing, they're leaving the outer surface off, and just making it out of complete infill using the
Really? What's the advantage to that?
Oh, it just looks neat. It's just got a neat texture look to it. So
Right.
yeah, and they use I think it's called gyroid, I think, infill, and they've made some really neat stuff on it. So
to check it out, I should start. It just sits there. It just sits there taking up room.
Yeah,
and I like it. It's a commitment though. Like if I do something that's going to take some serious time, I got to go to work. You know what I mean? And I don't want to think running when I'm not here. Because I'll come home to the world's largest spaghetti. So I got to do it basically on my off time. And God forbid, I've seen complicated stuff that I wanted to do that was going to even a day off isn't enough.
Yeah. Well, I made. I ended up making some wall hangers for. This was a sample one I did for and I've got on my door there. I've mounted 3 of these, and each one of them is just a little bit different than the other as far as their size goes to fit my 3 swords that I've made. So,
well, Randy says he leaves his running all day and all night. Bamboo has spaghetti protection. So, see, but I don't know that as an Italian I could buy something that protects you from spaghetti.
I know, right? Yeah.
I don't know I have an Ender 3D Pro. Ender 3 Pro. Yeah.
Yeah, Ender 3 Pro. Yeah. Well, mine has it. I've kept it. I don't turn on the when I have some real bad situation. Yeah, but sometimes it'll get hung up. As a matter of fact, I did that the other day. I tried to print something and I got in a hurry and didn't pay attention to what I was doing. Had it set too low and it ended up gumming everything up. So now I've got to heat it up and I've got to go through and clean out the tip on it. So, it happens.
Well, I mean, I know bamboos are they're more money. I know, but I know they're better.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Well, mine's not a bamboo, but like I said, it's
the old bamboo.
It's the any cubic, and I love it. I really do. It's just he's got that one glitch.
He's comparing bamboo to Ender,
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's not a bad printer. It's a good printer, But I mean, I got it for free. Alexis gave it to me.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. Yeah. My son, my youngest son, here in town, Patrick, had one that he bought for his son, and it's the Ender 3 V2, I think it's called, and it really prints nice. I mean,
they're all pretty similar. I mean, I think mine was probably because it had the newer board on it, in the
right. Yeah, his has one of the newer boards too. It's like Ender 3 V2 something or another. Yeah,
might be the same one.
Yeah, Randy has the X Carbon, and mine's a cross between the X Carbon and the P1S. That the any cubic. It sort of takes the best of both and mixes them together, and it's got the filament dryer too. So that's another thing that's just if I start having really some janky prints and stuff, that's like I'll turn on that dryer for a little while and then I'll start to print over, and it's like takes care of the problem.
I was thinking about doing some upgrades on it. The kits are pretty cheap, like putting putting the other axis so you have 2 motors.
Right.
I have a single motor setup, I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about the kits for auto leveling and stuff like that. And then I looked at I have the tube feed. What is that called? There's different feeds. One's more.
Oh yeah, you got the.
It's a capillary tube.
You got the. I keep wanting to say pitot tube, but that's on a plane.
I forget.
Yeah, because you got the direct drive.
It's been at least a year or so since I even looked into any of this stuff. Yeah. You got direct feed, and that I was considering maybe even doing that, but we'll see. But it's not none of that's very expensive, and I'm able to do it because the board is a newer board. Blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah, and that's like James is wanting to. I forgot. There's one thing he's wanting to do on it that came on the model just above his, and I can't remember which one it is because, but he's been doing like he made he 3D printed like extra strut supports to keep that from shifting too much, and he's been doing a lot. I mean, that kid just starting out. He's gone. He was off work for 12 weeks and didn't have anything to do. He was bored out of his mind. He couldn't get out and do anything because he was wearing a neck brace and couldn't move. So he could sit there on his computer and just dream up shit and
I'll be
print
honest.
it.
I don't think I've printed anything since Valentine's Day. Not this past one, the one before.
Right, yeah. I printed this articulated, and it was a print in place. I mean, it came off perfect. It's got it's pretty damn long too. So
I've done a couple articulated things.
Yeah.
They came to astronaut. I gave that. Did I give that to Laura? Did I stay?
Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah,
I think I did. Yeah, and then I did a little heart thing. It's around here somewhere. It's ugly. I mean, I was starting to get into it. I bought the acrylic pens, to paint them. But I don't know. Now it just sits there. A lot of stuff just sits there that I really like. I really like that boat. It's been longer since I've used the boat. Last time I was in that,
I got a brand new one sitting out there in my driveway, and I got it cabled up to my my broke down minivan. I got a
Ray Kelly
cable, an actual cable lock, where I run it through the wheels, or through the axle and stuff. So they're going to, because it wasn't so bad when I had a pickup truck sitting there, but my son is using my pickup truck next door, so he's got it over there, and so now it's just my van, and then the broke down one is like,
wow.
Yeah, definitely. I look
boating, flying, and fishing and flying the St. Lucie River with Captain Ray Kelly. It's showing as 3 years ago. That's the last time I've been. Well, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, because I'm just lazy about it. I mean, I only have so many days off, and I spend every other Sunday at my dad's. I mean, the times I just think I own a house. There's things I got to do.
Yeah,
and there's no reason not to, because I like it. Motor run's good.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's been sitting that long. I'll have to change the impeller again, but I have a new impeller for it, so it's no big deal.
I got a little 2.6 horsepower Chinese motor, two stroke, just big, because all it is a 12-foot or might be a 14-foot plastic John boat, bought it at
size of mine. It's considered it's 14. Allegedly, it's really 13.6.
Yeah. I think mine's about that too. So
I have a 15 on the back of mine. An old Johnson.
Yeah, well, I bought this. I bought it from. Believe it or not, I bought that China. It just shows how white trash I am. It's sitting over there in my living room, and I got one of those petition things there, and it sits sort of behind it. So it's like, okay. Let's see. Yeah, let me do this. I want to try and Messenger. Let's see. There we go. I'll send that, and then I can get it over here and bring it over here, and I'll show you the sword mounting on my door in here. So I'm going into my bedroom. So
I've actually put something up to share.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I see it now.
There it is. You may have seen this. You may not. I don't know. This is quite a ways in. There we go.
That was great.
Well, as you can see, I did decide to take off. And of course, using my massive brain power, I did it while the boat was moving. And the drone came within about 1.5 feet of my face. It was a bit alarming. I should have seen it coming. We weren't going very quickly, but it doesn't take very much, does it? I spent the next, 25 minutes or so just trying to chase the boat down. And as you can see here, I'm doing it while the motor is still running.
Yeah.
Again, trolling speed.
Doing both at the same time.
Harder than it looks.
Yes.
Steering the boat.
It's doing both.
Flying the drone.
Was
all manual, clearly. I didn't enable any active track or follow me, which I probably should have. It would have made for a better video. I also wish I
Yeah.
had gone up a little higher and showing you guys more of the area and how beautiful it is here. And I'm going to do that in a future video. Take the boat out again, fly it, put the tracking on, put it up, a little high, and
There's Captain
give you
Ray
guys
doing his
a little
video
taste
wall.
of chasing the boat, what the area looks like.
Yeah, he was.
Hey,
Bill, are we ever going to catch a fish?
Have a good time when I go out
Yeah.
with Ray, whether it's his bigger boat or my little boat.
Yeah, Captain Ray reminds me a lot of my uncle, who was he was an old Marine, and my mom's right. He even looks quite a bit like him too. So
I wasn't using tracking, Randy. This is me flying with one hand and steering the boat with the other. And yes, and that is Captain Ray. Came up when we went. And that's what I got to do. I need to make a commitment to somebody that we're going to go out on the boat, and then I'll go and I'll clean it up because it gets dirty, and run the motor with the water flowing through, make sure the impeller's working. And I'll do all those things. That's I think a 1983.
Was glad to take you all along.
Johnson 15. The boat's even older. The boat's like 1965.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Brian. Letting a boat just sit is not good for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I go over it before I take it out. Everything.
Yeah.
That's an aluminum boat. It's no big deal. You like the houseboat there? It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is the North Fork of the St. Lucie River.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were going to do that and then got sidetracked doing something else.
Well, next time you're down here, we'll definitely take it out.
Yeah, I'm tentatively planning. I think I'm going to be where I can start traveling and doing a couple times a year now. I think
that was kind of a cool transition, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is a cool transition. You did good on that. I like that. And I like the black and white, the pencil drawing look on it. That was pretty cool. So
that's over. Okay. Let's unshare.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and see if I can bring this up. Let's see.
That's not the whole thing, it was just Yeah, I like that pic.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it anymore. I accidentally formatted a drive full of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
A whole terabyte drive. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, these are the three swords. This is the one on the let's see, the left, at least left to me, is my Gandalf sword, and it's the longest one. It's two-handed. The one on the far right is I can't remember. It's another one of the elves or somebody out of Lord of the Rings. Then the one in the middle is just a standard medieval. It's actually quite a bit like the Excalibur, and it's the shortest. But yeah. So anyways,
well, if you include the pommel, that one on the right is the same length as the one on the left. I think at least it kind of looks it. It's got a longer pommel.
Yeah, because I've also got them set. Yeah, if I raise them up, they're just real close. Because I've also got the one on the left is actually lower down.
Yeah.
Because I just got, but yeah, I had to. I made those. I made those wall hangers, and for the one on the left, what?
I'm sorry, at the chat. I was reading the chat.
Oh,
Randy is interacting with you, and you're not even paying attention.
Skyrim sword. But anyways, yeah, that's what I was working on this last 3 or 4 days, and then believe it or not, I didn't have any. I had. You know how when you build something, you buy it from IKEA or from Walmart, and you put something together, and you always have a little package of extra screws here and there. You don't know where they go. Well, I had about 3 of those packs, which is what I needed to hang those on the door, because I didn't have any screws in the house. I'm like, well, I got this junk drawer. Oh yeah. These 2 are the same, so they'll go in this one. And
sometimes they give you extra because I know people drop stuff.
Right? Yeah. So usually it's a good thing because I usually drop one somewhere. It doesn't. But
I've seen kits that had extras.
Yeah, I have too. And
I think, you know what I think in that case, that those were the same set that was being used in a different product.
right,
You know, it was cheaper for them just to give away the 2 cheap ass screws than the
right, yeah, because they have them all prepackaged, screw box and all the different things in factory sealed, and they just toss them in the box. Yeah, that makes sense too. I mean,
yeah. Randy wants to know where you get all the files for all that cool stuff.
I got those files from I think I got all of them from thangs.com. And there's a guy that makes most of these, and you can follow him like for, I don't know, $5 or $10 a month, and you get like 700-800 files, and you can go through and you get so many credits a month. And he does a lot of, his name is 3D. It's basically 3 Demon is what it is. 3 capital D Eman. Excuse me. Salad bar is trying to get to me, but or pizza's not sitting well. But anyways, he does a lot of those swords, and he does a really good job. And you've never heard of that one? Yeah, you can search just strictly on things. They when you go up in the search bar, you can click things only, or you can click everywhere, and they will go through. They will go through and look under everything. Some of them you have to pay for. None of those I paid for, But
I've always used Thingiverse.
Well, and they use Thingiverse too. They're like Thingiverse on steroids.
Thingiverse, whatever it is. Yeah, on steroids. Well,
yeah, because they also go to Maker Online. What is it? Bamboos is called. Something Maker something.
That Articulated Astronaut. I paid for that one. But it's not much. It's like $3 or some shit. I don't care.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, go ahead and those were done in PLA. I had the actual handles were done, and the same with these mounts. This is it's PLA, and it's not brown. It's not just brown. It's actually got wood filament in it. So when you sand it and buff it out and everything, and then put some lacquer on it, it's going to look like wood, And but yeah,
Creality, the maker of my printer.
Yeah, they have printable. Yeah, you can just about find everybody on there, but
I think I have that saved, but I got everything from Thingiverse.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my son turned me onto that, and it's become my go-to place for it, because I'll just sit there and I'll have it look through everything if I'm looking for a specific thing, and I'll have it look. Just you can drop it down and say look everywhere, and it'll bring up just about every major manufacturer's STL place. But yeah, it's just TH. It sounds like something I'd say. It's Thangs, one of them Thangs.com.
This I'll share this. This was my most useful. I've shown this before though. My most useful thing that I ever printed.
Oh, that's me. Sorry, wrong one. There we go. Oh yeah, I like that. I always thought that was cool.
And that was free.
Yeah.
That was free. And I did obviously it's all PLA, but I did the white PLA Plus actually was the white.
Right.
So I mean this is one piece and it actually screws in.
Greg.
This is threaded on the inside. So you actually screw the mushroom
right onto it, yeah.
Yeah. And inside of it, when it printed an opening that you could and it actually the guy actually told you what lamp to buy. Now I didn't have to do the exact same one, but I did a search and I found it on Amazon and it's got a 3-watt LED bulb inside of it. It's like a nightlight. And I had to print all of these individually, same as this.
Right. Yeah.
This is a tricolor silk.
Yeah, I like that tricolor silk too. I think I've actually got to get me a multicolored silk just so when I'm printing off dragons and stuff.
You see the cord. This thing was like $11, but you got 2 bulbs. No, I'm sorry, it was less than that. I had to buy the bulb separate. The socket and the cord. Can you see the cord down the bottom there? There's actually a switch. It's one of those old school ones. Halfway down, it's got one of those wheel switches that you turn. And I mean, these bulbs. It's on every day. I use it kind of as a nightlight in the kitchen for dogs.
It was in the kitchen.
It's in the kitchen. Yeah, it was on top of that cabinet, that brown cabinet with all the spices and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Did you notice it? I didn't even show it to you, did I?
I think you did. I'm thinking you did. Because we were talking about that.
If you got up at night, you'd see it because it's on all the time. Like I say, because it's right. The dogs are down there.
Yeah, I do remember seeing it. Yeah, you did show it to me because I did get up a couple times in the night. So
my wife likes leaving the light on over the stove, but that's more wattage, you know.
Yeah.
Don't need both, but she does. So whatever. You know, in the hood, the hood light. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome, Greg. And I'm sorry I missed your calls. I was actually one of them. I was in the doctor's office. Then the next time you called, I was on a video call with my son in Colorado, who I'm going to go spend a week. So, but yeah. So
thanks, Randy. That was the peak. That was the peak of my printing.
It looks good.
That's all right.
You
know, good.
I'm one of these guys that I made my pipe stand, but I remade certain parts till I got it fine tuned. I mean, I wasted a ton of filament, but that's because I want it to be the way I want it. And if that means I try something, I've gotten a little smarter here lately. I'll actually measure something, in the way I want it. And then when I go into Tinkercad, I'll make sure I put those measurements on there. So if I've downloaded something from online, but it's too small, well, then I expand it out and then I check the measurements and then I go and redo it on Tinkercad so that when I download it, everything's the right size and right proportion. So, but yeah, I'll reprint something 3 or 4 times because I'm just not happy with the way it looks.
You know what else was cool about that? I did that without any supports. The dome filled in nice and printed. I didn't even know at that point in my printing. I didn't know what support. I didn't even know what they were.
Right. So right.
And it printed right the first time. So that was kind of cool because that took quite a bit of plastic.
Yeah.
But yeah. You're a tinker-tard.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know near as much as I should know about it, but I've got to where I can just about do. When I come up with an idea, I can do it. So it's just a matter of coming up with the idea of what I want to make. Like I said, the pipe stands, the way I made it. So we're still live. And what time is it? You know what?
10 to 10.
Yeah.
45 minutes extra.
I think that's enough for everybody. I think they've had enough tonight. We can still continue to talk after the show. But anyways, guys, those that hung out, I said we got down to 10. I'd probably shut it down, and we are at 10 now. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great...
It's pretty good that you're still at 10 after an hour and 48 minutes.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's good. And I appreciate everybody that's talked in the chat, and I appreciate you guys. I really do. And I appreciate all you guys that came on the panel tonight so that I'm not bored out of my mind talking to myself. Although I don't mind listening to myself, but after a while I get bored. So anyways, guys, we are going to say good night. You guys hang loose and I'll bring you back up in here after the good night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Good night.